Imagine you're standing inside a museum. Glass cases surround you. Ancient tools, broken pottery, rusty weapons, the remains of civilizations that vanished thousands of years ago. Most of it looks exactly like what you'd expect. Simple, primitive, predictable. Then you turn a corner, and suddenly you see something that shouldn't exist. A machine, a structure, an object so advanced that even modern experts struggle to explain how it was made. Not because it's magical, not because aliens built it, but because it appears far earlier than anyone expected. This is the story of ancient technologies we still can't fully explain. And the deeper we look, the stranger the mystery becomes. For a long time, people imagined history as a straight line. The past was primitive, the present is advanced, and the future will be even more advanced. Simple, comforting, wrong. Because archaeology keeps finding things that refuse to fit neatly into that story. Every few years, researchers uncover another object that forces historians to stop and ask the same uncomfortable question. Were ancient people far more capable than we give them credit for? Let's begin beneath the Mediterranean Sea. In 1901, sponge divers exploring an ancient shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera found what looked like a lump of corroded metal. At first, nobody paid much attention. It seemed worthless, just another damaged artifact from a lost ship. Then scientists examined it more carefully. Inside the metal were gears. Not one or two gears. Dozens. Tiny interlocking bronze gears arranged with incredible precision. The object became known as the Antikythera Mechanism, and it completely changed our understanding of ancient technology. This device was built more than 2,000 years ago, yet it could track the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, predict eclipses, calculate astronomical cycles, and perform calculations so complex that many researchers describe it as the world's first analog computer. Think about that. A computer, built nearly 2,000 years before modern computers existed. For decades, historians assumed technology like this simply shouldn't have existed in the ancient world. But there it was, real, corroded, and impossible to ignore. Even today, experts continue debating how Greek engineers achieved such astonishing precision. What's even stranger is that no other machine quite like it has ever been found. It's almost as if an entire technological tradition appeared, then vanished from history. But Greece wasn't the only place hiding secrets. Travel south to Egypt, stand before the Great Pyramid, and try to imagine what you're seeing. Over 2 million stone blocks, some weighing several tons, arranged with remarkable accuracy, built more than 4,500 years ago, without cranes, without modern steel tools, without computers. For thousands of years, people have argued about how it was done. The truth is that historians have several plausible explanations: ramps, labor forces, ingenious engineering. But despite decades of research, there are still details nobody fully understands. Some granite blocks appear to have been cut with extraordinary precision. Passages align with astonishing accuracy. Measurements repeatedly reveal mathematical relationships that continue to fascinate researchers. The mystery isn't that the pyramids exist. The mystery is how ancient builders consistently achieved such remarkable results. And then things become even stranger. Because in ancient Iraq, archaeologists discovered an object that may have generated electricity. It became known as the Baghdad Battery. The artifact consisted of a clay jar containing a copper cylinder and an iron rod. Simple, unremarkable, until researchers recreated the design. When filled with an acidic liquid, the jar produced a small electrical current. Not enough to power a city, not enough to run machines, but enough to raise an intriguing possibility. Did ancient people experiment with electricity nearly 2,000 years ago? Nobody knows. Some scholars remain skeptical. Others believe the device may have been used for electroplating metals. The debate continues. But the fact that such a debate exists at all is extraordinary. Because every time we think we've discovered the limits of ancient knowledge, history surprises us. Now let's travel to the Roman Empire. The Romans built roads, aqueducts, bridges, and massive buildings. Many still stand today. That's impressive enough. But their concrete, maybe even more impressive. Modern concrete often begins cracking after decades. Roman concrete has survived for nearly 2,000 years. In some cases, exposure to seawater actually makes it stronger over time. Scientists spent years trying to understand why. Eventually, they discovered that Roman builders used a unique mixture containing volcanic ash. The chemical reactions created materials capable of repairing tiny cracks naturally. In other words, the Romans accidentally created a form of self-healing concrete. a technology modern engineers are still studying today. Then there's Damascus steel, perhaps the most legendary metal in history. Ancient accounts describe swords capable of slicing through armor while remaining incredibly flexible. The blades displayed distinctive wave-like patterns unlike anything seen elsewhere. For centuries, blacksmiths attempted to reproduce them. Many failed. The original manufacturing techniques were gradually lost. Even today, researchers debate exactly how ancient craftsmen achieved the remarkable properties that made Damascus steel famous throughout the world. And that's what makes these stories so fascinating. Not because ancient people possessed secret superpowers, not because they had access to impossible technology, but because they were brilliant, creative, observant, and capable of innovations that sometimes rival our own. The more we learn about the past, the harder it becomes to dismiss ancient civilizations as primitive. They solved problems, conducted experiments, developed technologies, and occasionally created things so remarkable that thousands of years later we're still trying to understand them. Maybe the greatest misconception about history is the belief that intelligence belongs to the present. It doesn't. The people who built the pyramids were intelligent. The engineers who designed the Antikythera Mechanism were intelligent. The craftsmen who forged Damascus steel were intelligent. Their world was different, but their minds were not. And somewhere beneath deserts, oceans, jungles, and forgotten ruins, there are almost certainly more discoveries waiting. More machines, more mysteries, more evidence that human history is far more complicated than we ever imagined. Because every artifact tells the same story. The past is not dead. The past is still surprising us. And perhaps the next great technological breakthrough won't come from the future. Perhaps it will come from something ancient, something buried, something we've overlooked for thousands of years.